evening, everyone. We are going to get started here. I want to thank you all so much for joining us for the first of 3 free personal development webinars exclusively for and taught by Simmons alumni. My name is John Constable. I'm Assistant Director in the Office of Alumni Engagement, and I'm also your host for this evening. We are also joined by Cara Smith, Associate Director of Alumni Engagement. Although you will not see her, she will be working behind the scenes to ensure everything runs smoothly. Just a quick reminder before we get started, this webinar is being recorded, and you will be given access to the recorded version within 10 business days. So now, without further ado, it is my absolute pleasure to hand over the reins to renowned life coach, speaker, author, and Simmons alumna, Maria Salomão-Schmidt. Maria?
John, can you put up the slide for the first poll question, please? Excellent. What we're going to do is we are going to have a segment. We'll have a poll question, and then we'll have a segment, and then you'll get to have your questions answered. We'll pick 1 or 2 questions in between the segments to kind of break it up so that, you know, the conversation is flowing. And then at the end of the 35 minutes, you can leave if you wish, or you can stay for about 15, 20 minutes, and we'll answer some of the other questions that you may have, because this is really amazing work. So I'm going to start off. That's the brief introduction, and so let's begin. So right now, we are at a really critical time, and I think one of the road map to happiness is kind of a misleading question, in the sense that we've been taught that there's a formula for how to be in the world. And I want to tell you, it is such an honor to be here, because where this is coming from, for me, is there are 2 major life events. In the interest of time, I'm going to synopsis what, you know, as in these succinct as I can be. For 30 years, I've been researching the material that I have in my book right here, and it took 10 years to write. And there were 2 major life events that really knocked me for a loop. One of them was I grew up in a very abusive home, and my father tried to kill me twice. And the other one was that my daughter Sophia, she was 13 months at the time, suddenly died. Those 2 events literally rocked my world, and especially the death of Sophia. It really it broke something in me that got me to this next level of wanting to still be her mother, wanting to find out why we're here, but really wanting to, like, how can I connect this full busy life with the sudden death of someone that you're beloved? How can you do that? And it has really nothing to do with death, in the mere fact that we are here for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. And so I ask you, like, we live our lives based on this almost good girl formula of how to, like, you get a good education, to get a good job, to find a mate, to buy a house. So there's this formula, and although it's a wonky formula, it's all based on you doing something. And it's so not in alignment with where most people are at. It's a very weird kind of existence. So I ask you, are you here to just pay your bills? Did you come through all of this trouble? So we'll do this little thing. So here you are. You find yourself here on planet Earth, wherever you are, and you find yourself, like, how did you get here? Like the Talking Head song, how did I get here? How did you get here? What are you doing here? None of us knows when we're going to die. None of us knows our end date. But yet, there's something that we've all gone through that a lot of us don't even think about or remember, although all of us have gone through this. And what that is we have all got into a stranger's body, upside down, for give or take 40 weeks, in liquid, right? This is like the birthing process of how you come into planet Earth. This is how we come into planet Earth. It is the wonkiest, the weirdest kind of equation, but yet here we are. This is how we come to the Earth. And then to actually be born, you come out of one of two different ways, both of them not, a hole this big, or someone cuts a hole and takes you out. And then you are born, unable to communicate, completely vulnerable. You have no claws, no teeth. You're basically almost like a vegetable. You cry and you're cute. That's it. And you have gone through that. Every single person you meet has gone through that, right? But we don't think about that. We're like, oh, so I got this, I got that. But that is huge that we came through that, the most vulnerable part of existence. And while you were coming through that, there were some, as you were growing up, and it was different flavors for different people, right? As you were coming through that, you developed certain skills, certain coping mechanisms. You went through certain amounts of trauma. And those, you developed a way to be based on the should method, the good girl method, what I call, so when you're born in what I call the right now operating system. Just like your computer has an operating system, you have an operating system. And that operating system, if you have a Mac and you do a PC operating system, it's not going to work, and vice versa, right? You just have a heavy, expensive paperweight and no function. It needs an operating system. Well, the human being's natural operating system is the right now. Right now is you live in the right now, right now. And the one when you get domesticated is called the herd, H-E-R-D, operating system. And that operating system literally depletes you. So let me give you this energetic example. So in human beings, the ride on this planet, I like to give this story that imagine that there's this love light ball. And in this love light ball that exists, we're going to use our imagination right now, just like Walt Disney does, right? We're going to love light ball, and it's just beautiful colors and lights and no angles, just flow and beauty. And on planet Earth, Mother Earth is bored, so she makes these little carcass bodies, these little meat bodies. They call them meat bodies specifically because they literally meat. And so they don't do anything. So she sends out a beacon to that love light ball, and she said, do any of these sparks want to have an adventure? And the spark that is, let's see, Abigail and Amy and Beth and Bobby and Carol and Cara and I want to call more of your names, and Erica and Ellie, and Lisa and Kristen and Joanne and Maria and Marianne and Nicole and Patty and Sandra and Sarah and Sherry and Stacy and Hugh and all of these amazing sparks said, yeah, I want an adventure. And so they all came into these meat bodies, all ride for this lifetime on planet Earth, right? I've actually gone to a lot of religious leaders and said, does this material make sense to you? And they're like, it totally makes sense to us because it's pre-religion. It's pre-all indoctrination. And in that flow of in this meat body, I can tell you when I was holding my daughter Sophia and the holding her body, her meat body, when her energy had left, it was a different feel. It was a different vibe. And so it was one of those things where there's information from the ickies. There's information from the most horrific life events. There's a gift and a curse in everything. But you can only live one of those things. You can only live one of those things. A lot of these programs that you hear, they're all about you getting better and you working on yourself and you working on self-esteem. There is no self-esteem. There is no self-esteem. Let me tell you why I say that. When that little story, the little ditty I made up about the spark, there is a spark. Is energy like whole, or is energy kind of half or whole, full of holes or not enough? Energy is just energy. And what you are is energy, right? The reason I don't use the word soul or spirit, which are yummy words, they're fine words like soul food. Who doesn't like soul food? But they are words that are designed to disconnect. You don't know where your soul is, how it feels. You have no connection to it. It's just kind of like a pretty thing. It's like those pretty shoes in your closet that you'll never wear again because they hurt, but they're pretty to look at. Anyone? So it's those kinds of things where it's just the flow of it. You are energy in this magnificent body. And if you remember that your energy first and body second, so that the body and the brain serve the heart and the energy, you will have a totally different life. A totally different life. You will have a life in alignment. So when you are in the herd, you are literally leaking energy. You are not full of yourself. You are empty of yourself. And so let me give you an example. So you take somebody like, I am just tooting along and not even, I'm going to put a little pause on this, and I'll remember to talk about the energy body. And we are going to take a question, if anyone has any. John, have we come up with any questions yet?
Hello.
Are there any questions?
I have a question
No.
here.
Okay.
How do you move things out of the way so you can find your spark?
Okay. So you don't move anything out of the way. You are the spark. The lie that most people tell you that you need to work on yourself is that you have to do something. But if you go back to the most basic, if you see this cute little baby girl, right now, if we just got a picture of a cute little baby girl, and none of us would say, she really needs to work on herself. There's some, she's just whole. She's just a beautiful little girl. And the focus is not on self-esteem or anything. It's just this flow. I'll give you an example of the flow. When you see a baby learning how to walk, they didn't take any classes. They didn't, they don't have a to-do list. They're just sitting there one day, and all of a sudden they just go, and they start walking. You ever see that happening? They're like, and then they land somewhere, and they go, what just happened? They're all shocked because it's that pull. It's that pull. That spark, you are the spark. You're already whole. That's why self-esteem is not an issue. You are whole. And the reason that's important, when you know that you are whole, then you can really swim in your energy. You can be fully your flavor in the world. In the book, I have a bunch of chapters on ice cream flavors at the end. And it's like, this is that whole thing of your whole flow, your whole life. You are a flavor. You're a part of the human race. And if you don't activate why you came here, you will live, your feedback will be so icky, so icky. There's so much more to talk about. But let's check in with you on our next poll question here. So answer below. On a scale from 1 to 10, how happy are you with your life? So on a scale from 1 to 10, how happy are you with your life? If you can answer below, okay. We have 6s and 9s and 5s. Excellent. So a lot of high. Excellent. A lot of people being honest too and saying 3 and 5 and 7. Excellent. This is wonderful. Being authentic means stepping right where you are, right where you're. There's so much energy in oh, I'm sorry, and I'm this, and I'm that. So it's all part of that not being enough. And I'm going to go right into the second segment because there's so much, and it's going so fast. What I want you to leave with today is a really, really, really important message, because the reason that this is, you bothered to come to this planet to enter a meat body. This is a story I made up. I'm making all of this up. But whatever relates to, whatever you can remember that makes sense to you, follow it, right? If it makes sense to you, use it any way that you can to harness. Because the reason I was born is to help people remember that they are whole, that they get to see whatever they are in the world. It's like, show up as you. The world needs you, your own unique flavor. It needs you. The meat body, okay, needs oxygen, right? These two things, it's kind of crazy to think about. If you block this and this, don't do it too long. If you block those two things, your connection with your meat body and your spark breaks away, correct? So energetically, this is your seventh chakra. This is how you come in and out of your body. This is exactly how you came in. That's exactly how you go out. It's a temporary ride. Everyone knows that. There's no one here that says, oh, you live forever, because no one does. At least I've never met anyone. So this flow, when you are domesticated, what happens is this gets blocked. Not completely blocked, because if it's completely blocked, you get a case where it happened with Carrie Fisher and her mom, Debbie Reynolds, right, where Carrie died unexpectedly, and her mom was so connected to her that she just went, she was healthy, she was fine, she just went, I'm done. She closed her heart, she closed this, and that connection, it's almost like holding your breath too long. It's dying of a broken heart is another way that human beings call it. She just closed, right? So when you get domesticated, so this is where also you're getting your intuition hits. This is where you're getting your flow. This is where you're getting everything, right? Your dreams. Why is it that even twins have two separate dreams? This is where you're getting your spiritual DNA, where you're getting your flow, your information. And the information comes in feelings. The reason why a lot of men on this planet are really blocked and don't do a lot of this work is because we as women were taught that we're weak because we have feelings. But men were denied their feelings. And feelings are the muscles of intuition. Feelings let you know what's going on a level that your five senses can't touch. They can't touch it. So what's really, really important is for you to remember that keeping this open, and how you do it, like really simply, go out and walk among the trees, doing meditation, which we'll talk about in a second, listening to a really good song. It's anytime you're losing track of time, anytime you're in the flow that you're just exploring and playing in the world, that's what this is. When people get domesticated, they are taught to block this off and to listen to the people in front of them, to listen to what's in front of you. Don't listen to this. Listen to the rule. Be a good girl, right? That line of be a good boy and be a good girl, or don't be a bad boy, don't be a bad girl, has decimated the human race. Has decimated. Because it's about cutting this off and following the herd. So just like you need oxygen here, you need this flow open. That flow needs to happen. When you block this flow, because you're a good girl, and no one can block it for you, very important. There's no blame and shame. You block your own. And the people who are telling you to do it are your most beloved because they don't know any better. This is how human beings have done it. I've done it to my children. This is how I was taught, right? When we know better, we do better, as Maya Angelou says. So this is us doing better and just being ourselves in the world because the world is calling for this. When this is blocked, we have to get it from some other source. So we get it from the people around us. That's where self-esteem comes in. That's where the please love me comes in. It's because the people around us, we get energy from other people, either by begging for it or stealing it. Stealing it would be kind of like what's happening right now with the current president, whom I call 45. And he is so empty of himself. He is so low vibration that he has to bully. And to him, power, he's completely in the herd operating system. And to him, power to him is money and domination over other people. If you could control someone, that is power. Not good or bad. That's just the energy that's how he operates. In the right now, power is vulnerability. It's being open. Like if you think of a Mother Teresa, for example, or even a Princess Di, like on her good days, right? Because we're human beings. Everyone poops, right? Everyone poops. Having a shitty time is part of this experience. It is part of it. And if you don't have it, it makes a bigger problem. So knowing is a reason why everyone has a bathroom, because it's going to come. It's healthy that it comes, and it has a place. So in your life, as stuff is happening, deciphering whether it's happening to you or for you is really, really important. Okay? We're going to our next question. Okay, meditation. We talked a little bit about meditation because I want to leave you with some things that will be really, really helpful. 35 minutes is a really short time, so I want to make sure while we're doing the poll question, John, if there's another question someone has. Oh my goodness, I'm doing this thing here. So the poll question is, do you meditate? And meditation, the way that I use it now is a totally different way than I was ever taught. And I want to gift this to you because it will blow your mind on how the thing I want you to leave with, and I know this is such a foreign concept to some of you, and just play with it. I ask you to just play with it. That you were born fully loaded. Fully loaded. Anything you say that's negative about what you do, right, is just something that someone told you to leak your energy out. Because the one thing I learned, I actually talk about Simmons and Nadine's, I went to the Graduate School of Management, and it was really important for one of the, I think it was Dean Jardim said, that we were entering into this sacred space where we were really messing with other people in our family in the sense that we were breaking tribal law. But a tribe's purpose is if you fall down, they will pick you up, bring you back up. But when you try to rise above them, when you break a rule, even just doing something differently, they will break your legs to bring you back down. And that's the thing that is like, I used to apologize to furniture when I bumped into it, right? We're the sorry and all of that. Like we're so conditioned to be good girls, essentially to give our energy to other people, to nurture other people in a way that self-sabotages and self-sacrifices. Plenty of generations, my mother's generation, women were just sucked dry. They were just sucked dry. Like everyone, they were a feeding station for other people. This is not a sustainable model. It doesn't work. It's not good or bad. It feels icky to the people, right? Because even someone who's dominating over someone else, they are not full. They're not full of themselves. They're living unfull, productive life. So going to the meditation thing, almost daily, occasionally, and we have a lot of not yet. Yes! Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you for being authentic. Thank you for being honest. So why meditation is so important is because you know how your phone gets downloads? So, or your computer, the ones that you keep saying, remind me tomorrow, click. You do that like a monkey 15,000 times. So the downloads are part of the process because we're shifting as a human. We are on the cusp of human evolution. Literally, the children that are being born with the autism and the Downs and all that, they are the sacred ones. They are the ones that are so amazing. they don't attach to the things that we do, the rules, the ego. They're just like, you want my wallet? There you go. Right? It's more of a fluid thing that drives certain people, rule keepers, you know who you are, really, really, really rigid. So the meditation is a way for you to get your download. It's for you to get your download. Here's the secret, though. Your energy doesn't know time. Only your brain knows time. So if you literally meditate for 1 minute, 1 minute, it will change your life. So we're going to actually meditate right now. It'll be so fun and so quick. 1 minute, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you one method of how to do it. The simplest one is, there's a word, Sat Nam. S-A-T-N-A-M. Sat Nam, like Vietnam, but Sat Nam. And Sat Nam basically means I show up for the present of me. Like my flavor shows up in the world. I'm unfolding in my flavor, and that's what the world desperately needs, your flavor. So I am literally going to put 1 minute on this clock, and we're going to you're going to sit back, do this, roll your shoulders back like this. This is your aha point back here. You want to just roll your shoulders in a U and let you hear the crackle. Right? That alone will really release a lot of the energy that's stuck in your body, okay? We're going to do this for 1 minute. It's so simple. It's so yummy. What we're going to do is you take a deep breath, inhale and say Sat, hold it, and then Nam. So you want to inhale for 4, and then exhale for 4, saying Nam. So you're going to do this in your head. We're going to start. So, okay, so Sat, Nam. Sat. You get it, Nam. Okay, so we're going to do for 1 minute. Sit back and just follow your breath. We'll start now. Ooh, how was that? How does that feel? So whether you struggled with that or not, practicing that more and more is a wonderful way for you to get everything going. It's a wonderful way for you to connect with your downloads. So I invite you for the next 33 days. This is free. Nobody knows you're doing it. It takes 3 minutes of your day. 3 minutes of your day. Because you do one in the morning, you do one in the afternoon, and you do one right before bed. And you literally, you will stop. So how I define love, we are love, one love, all that. I didn't know what that meant. How I define love is freedom and flow. Because we're energy. And what does energy like to do? It likes to move, and it likes to expand. What the herd teaches us is box. You want to box it. You want to stay safe and small, safe and small. And once you know the formula, you repeat the formula. You don't go outside the formula. Stay in the formula. That is completely countering that flow of why you're even here, why you even bother to be here. Don't worry about a purpose. I know there's some of you out there, what's my purpose? Why am I here? It's not about purpose. It's about flavor. Be your flavor in the world. Do the things that inspire you. Do the things that ignite you. If you do the meditation 3 times a day for 33 days, you will start seeing massive amounts of shift. Massive amounts of shift. And that, by just coming to this phone call, you increase the flow on this planet. This is how we bring more love to this planet. This is how we disarm those people that are empty of themselves, because they are afraid of the light. They don't know what it is. They have no idea. They live like suffering. They live in pain. Does that make sense? So I want to leave you with as many tools as you want, as I can give you. There is a free gift that I have on my website at coachmemaria.com. I'm going to bring you to that right there. That free gift is yours. If you just go on there, it's a one-page. It's information that's in my book. It's the 7 helpers. And those are, this is about going back to basics. You are already whole. There's nothing you need to learn. It's a focus issue. Whatever controls your focus controls your life. Repeat it with me all over this world. Whatever controls your focus controls your life. When you have that one sheet that you can get at coachmemaria.com, when you get that sheet, you print it out, put it by the bathroom, put it in your car, put it in places that will remind you the basic things that repeated over time. So at the beginning when we started a little wonky, right, and the audio wasn't working, even though we had just been on and it was working fine. When that was, we could have totally, what are people thinking and all that? But we just went like, you know what? It just gave people more time to come in. It was working in divine time, and you just surrender to what it is and be present to whoever showed up and whenever they showed up. And so this is my calling that I give to you, and that gift is something that you will use over and over again. Make a ton of copies, give them to your friends, give them to your children, give them to your parents, like give them to your friends. Like, this is something that activating that flow, activating the creativity, activating the breathing. By the way, if you're living mostly in the herd, and a lot of us are, there is no happiness in the herd. Happiness is a byproduct of living in your alignment. Happiness is literally feedback that you are full of yourself, that you are going. It is your roadmap. Happiness is truly your roadmap, because happiness is nothing that you can hold or keep. It literally comes and goes, based on how full of yourself you are, right? So hold that space. Oh, so good. So I also have a quick favor to ask you. So I'm going to go to the next one. This is like, asking is one of the things that women do not do very well. So I am putting myself out there, and I am asking you if you are inspired to help me with my challenge. So after 10 years, I wrote this book. It came out in November, just a few days after the election. You'll be shocked at how much pertinent, because nobody knew that 45 was going to win, right? Well, most of us didn't know. So the stuff that's in there is so crazy in alignment with what's going on. It's like, what? Now I know why it took 10 years to write, right? There were things I didn't know that my brain wasn't picking up on, but I just trusted and wrote. So I turned 50 on May 29th, and right now on Amazon, I just got one more, so I have 31 5-stars. So I ask that you go out and get the book, and if you love it, to rate it. You don't have to do 5 stars if it's not a 5-star book for you, but my goal is to get 50 by May 29th, and it's just an ask, and may that, regardless if you do it or not, may you remember that to ask is just part of the deal. You just ask. It's like breathing. It's like, I own this much space in the world, and just ask, okay? So my contact information is below. I thank you so much for this. I thank Cara and John at the alumni, and Kristen at the alumni office. They are such gems. They do so much with such a small staff. And I thank you for making the time for coming here. For those of you who have to leave, please feel free. That is the end of the formal presentation. And now I'll spend a few minutes, the next 15, 20 minutes answering questions. So if you can stay, please do. It would love, love, love to have you. And let's see if I can figure out these questions. Ignorance on fire. Woo! So if you have it, get some water and just take a quick sip. Wet your whistle. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Okay, so how do you combat? Okay, so let's see. Serena has this question. Is how do you combat disorders that you have limited control over? Awesome sauce, because you labeled depression and anxiety. So depression is a symptom, not an illness. Depression is what happens when you have blocked this, and it feels it feels heavy, it feels sad, it feels stagnant. Think about the energy, and what does energy like to do? It likes to move and to be free. Freedom and flow is love. Depression is a lack of love. It's a lack of freedom and flow. So really, and this takes a little getting used to, but it's like your natural flow is the right now. That's your natural flow. You're actually exhausted and tired and depressed and anxious because you're blocking who you are. We have to sit there and go, nope, I don't want to hear it. Nope, 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 nope. And then you're so tired, like, oh, and that's when we go into other things that like binge eating or drugs or alcohol, TV, chocolate, shopping, sex. You get so, you go into the world and you do these like out of the these suffering, these manic things because you just want to get out of it, right? The anxiety thing, so like 3 years ago, I went to the women's conference in Boston, and I started getting these massive, massive, massive anxiety attacks, like a massive. And, I mean, this can go into it, just its own talk by itself, but basically, the rise in anxiety is astronomical. And the reason that is happening is because if you are, just think energetically, again, it's using your imagination. If you want something to work, right, so like if all these human beings are born and this is the connection, right, you're getting your downloads here, you're getting your energy flow here. If you block this, right, it's going to start coming at you even harder, right? If you block something, right, it's going to start to get through. So what I found is once you're in a full-blown attack, this doesn't work as well. It works a little bit, but not as well. But when you're starting to feel an anxiety attack coming on, if you just take your imagination and say, oh, I'm getting a massive download. I must have been like unconscious for a little bit and not really paying attention. So what you do is with your imagination, you imagine if your pipe is like this, you imagine that your pipeline is as big as Manhattan. You just make it like that, and you ask that it come in ways that it can go through you, that it can come into you and help you. And I'm telling you, it just makes a huge difference. Where I had the ask for, when I turned, the 50 reviews, by the time I turned 50, that asking your energy what you need, asking, energy beings, asking for people to help you, asking for energy to help you, other energetic beings that have lived. So to me, someone like Jesus, I don't have a religious connotation to him. I have him as a historic figure who is, a lot of healers use his energy. They call him down, utilize. They call him and they ask for him to come help. It's like a prayer. And they ask, and you feel alone, and you're not alone. When you feel alone, it's feedback that you're in the herd, because the herd is about isolation. It's about separate and conquer, okay? Sorry, that took so long, but I hope that answers your question. So Tiara, what a cool name. I hope I'm saying that correctly. What a cool name. How can we decipher what's happening to us and what's happening for us? How do we figure this out? Okay, so everything is both happening at the same time. Whether it's happening for us or to us is only determined by your attitude and focus. So for example, is it a good or bad thing that you're a woman? Is it a gift or a curse? It's actually both, and it's actually neither. It's whatever you focus on, right? Is being alive a gift or a curse? Is eating a chocolate cookie a gift or a curse? Is going, when you're watching a particular movie, is that a gift or a curse? Everything is both, and everything is neither. You just get to choose what you focus on. So that's why the meditation and the downloads are so important, because so you'll do the meditation for 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, and then you'll be like, well, I'm not really seeing anything, I'm going to stop. It's in that next week, it's in that second week, 10 days, that you will start noticing. What you'll start noticing is this, like all of a sudden someone will show up and they'll be like, you know, the coincidences, like, what? So Wayne Dyer, who I adored, he had 3 levels of development. First level is he also used ice cream. He used strawberry ice cream is what he used. So he said the first level is you want strawberry ice cream, you go and get strawberry ice cream. Second level is you want strawberry ice cream, and so you tell one of your children, hey, go get me some strawberry ice cream. Third level is you want strawberry ice cream, you just think about it, and then you let it go, and then someone comes up to you and says, do you want strawberry ice cream? And although that sounds ridiculous to a lot of people, that's how I live my life more and more and more. There's a serendipity. There's the nuance. That's how I got on the Oprah Winfrey Show. I got on the Oprah Winfrey Show because of serendipity. It was everything lined up in a way that, what? How did that? If you were to calculate, you know, with equations, what the chances of everything lining up like that, it would be like impossible. Impossible. It's suspending disbelief. It's just going with the flow, right? Not so much of it. Like when people come to me for coaching, they'll say like, what should I do? And it's not my life. It's your life. You're designing your life. Every moment of every day, you're designing your life. And that's not me being foo-foo. That's literally true. You get to choose what you're focused on. And so let's say you have really good intentions, and all of a sudden something happens, and you notice that you're yelling, or you notice that you're feeling really icky. When you notice that, stop and say, is this how I want to spend my energy dollars? So Carolyn Mace used to say that, or says, you every morning you wake up, you have 100 energy dollars, and how you spend it determines how full of yourself you are or how empty of yourself. I'm using my words a little bit, but it's the gist. And so she is really, really full. When you're choosing to say, so if you're going to you have an argument with someone, you start leaking out energy, right? So much to tell you. I hope that answers your question. Oh, so the meat body is MEAT. It's carcass. It's meat, because that's all there is left. That's literally this vessel that belongs to Mother Earth. It's the same. I don't eat animals, but like it's the same thing when you're eating an animal. It's like that. It's a meat body. You don't think of your dog as a meat body, but he has a meat, or she has a meat body, right? So it's these kind of things that are, I don't know, we don't pay attention to, but that's what it is. I am not able to move this down. Oh, yay. Amy said, I can't believe how much I slow down in 1 minute. It's not, because energy does not know time. All you need is 1 minute, because you just say, well, there you go. That's all you need. Oh, my God. I'm still being called. So can I just give them 2 more points? Are we good with time?
Yeah, Maria,
Okay.
go ahead.
So there are two things that are so, because if you do these things, they will literally shift your life, and they just make you more of you, like more of you come out. That's all we want is more of you in the world, which is not what most people tell you. So as the Artist's Way has this thing called the morning pages. I know you know, a lot of you are like, I know, but do you do it? Every morning, and I literally do this one on the toilet, okay? Literally, because you're getting rid of junk. The morning pages are, you get an old notebook. It is not a journal. It is not, it's not a pretty thing. It's an ugly thing. It's a dumping thing. Just like you clean off your tongue because it gets really gunky, your energy body gets really gunky. So as you are getting rid of, your physical body is getting rid of all of the stuff that it needs to get rid of from all of the night, the morning pages are literally your dump. And it also trains you to just go with the flow, because you'll be like, I don't know what to write. So then you write, I don't know what to write. You could write blah, 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 blah. It's giving yourself permission to misspell, to draw something, to the 3 pages of nonstop, like, just dump it. It's not for you to go back and read. It's not for anyone to read. You can burn it. It's just dumping. I would do that as part of the 33 days. And the last thing that I do is right before I go to bed, I either say or write down. If you write it down, you're pulling it down to the most basic. An idea is like the most loose energetically, and an actual, let's say, so this is like the most manifested you could be on planet Earth. It's like a physical copy. I took something that was up here, and I manifested it into a book, okay? So you can write it down, or you can just say it. And what you say is, as I'm going, I call it dream request. As I'm going to bed, I ask that the most benevolent and powerful entities rejuvenate, refresh, and recalibrate my being on every level. Okay? Some form of that. I change it every day, right? But the key is to have rejuvenate, refresh, and recalibrate. And when you do that as part of the 33 days, you're going to see massive amounts of things shifting. And you will start seeing life happening for you instead of to you more and more and more. Are there any more questions?
I was going to say, Maria, do you have time for one more question?
I have time for 30 more questions.
30 more. Well, Stacy would like to know, how do you let go of the old baggage in your life that has influenced you to this point?
So, old baggage, that's a really interesting way to hold the vibration on something. Perhaps a new label would be good for that. I have a chapter in the book called Labels Are for Clothes, Not for People. So it's like, be careful what you label, because you're literally using your energy. You're paying an energetic mortgage to whatever that is. So old baggage. So how do you let go of old baggage? So I'm going to answer it this way. Whatever you hold on to, whatever you focus on, you are actually paying a mortgage. So I used to call my dad liquid evil. I used to think that he was, like, that would be my story. That he really, in reality, he was doing the best he could with what he had. And that was his best and highest. So even though he was like 40 and 50 and 60 years old, he energetically was like a 2-year-old that was really lost and confused. So how I held him in that space of being an abuser, of being mean, of being cruel, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen or that it wasn't icky. It was really icky. But that was my weight set for being able to, like, you can't make a nice cuppa of tea. You can't make a nice cuppa with warm water. You just can't. And so that was my heat. That was my weight set. I don't live back there. I live here. I live in the right now as much as I can, because it's so yummy here. It's so yummy here. So the more that you can stay in the present moment, the more that you can say, this feels really icky. Because someone did you wrong. No one's ever done you wrong. That was their best and highest. And forgive yourself for the stuff that you've done because that was your best and highest. It's a messy planet.
Great answer. All right, Maria.
This is being kind to yourself. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with the Simmons community. And thank you, Cara. Thank you, Cara, for keeping this running smoothly. And thank you, everyone who attended, for sticking with us. I know we had a little bit of a rocky start, like Maria said, the webcam. It was working perfectly fine 2 minutes before. But it happens.
Funny universe.
Yes, right? So, yeah, thank you so much for joining. We hope you can join us again on May 9th for the second of our 3-part webinar series.